Check.
Hello, check, yeah. Go on top, yeah. Yeah.
Hello, test.
While it is being set up,
Hello, test.
just
Test.
look at me. I'm not that bad. Okay. So the pattern will be Cardinal is seated there, and we have chosen 5 representatives, one from the priest, religious, layman, laywoman, and a youth. Okay? Now, they have been told, and I do not know, what their dream church is, and they have written down the 2 questions that they would like to ask the Cardinal. First, we'll have 1 round of questions, and afterwards, if we have time, a 2nd round of questions. The talk show goes this way, that at some time, I will come into the audience and ask you, someone who has bribed me will get a chance to ask the question, okay? So I'll come into the audience and also ask you certain questions. We have also got people on the email. Royston, where are you? Yeah, are you doing that? Yeah. Give me on paper, whatever questions come, I will choose them depending on the time. Is that okay? Are we clear about what we are going to do? Yeah. Cardinal, are you ready? Okay. I want to situate the entire thing first. That, and it's good to start with Pope Francis. Pope Francis said that we are in the tomb, and who will roll away the tombstone? The one statement that I really like. हम कलीसिया गुफा में फंस गए हैं और बाहर आने की कोशिश हम कर रहे हैं. Who will roll away the tombstone? डर है क्या होगा कलीसिया को और हमारे इंस्टीट्यूशंस को. 1. 2. The Holy Father has also said that the wise men went back through another route. After the synod, we need to go back through another route, not the same way. Go through another route. So, अलग रास्ता ढूंढना चाहिए, क्योंकि उसी में है भलाई कलीसिया की. Or 3rd one, which is very important, and Cardinal Ozzy will definitely mention about it, that Pope Francis says, hear the cries of the people. जो आवाज है जनता की, आक्रोश है, उसे समझने की कोशिश करना चाहिए. So, कर्नल साहब, आपको पहला प्रश्न. आप सिनड के इनॉग्रेशन में आपने कहा कि the synod will reveal challenges to us. We might be uncomfortable. These are your words. We might be uncomfortable, and therefore we must be ready to it. What's your opening statement on that? Are we uncomfortable, but we'll face it? We'll take up the challenges? Cardinal.
I think when I said that, and I certainly said that, the question is that we must be ready to listen. When there are positive things that we are happy about, criticism that we feel naturally uncomfortable about, but I think it's important that we listen to the reality, to the truth, so that we are able to respond. The church cannot grow, or any institution, the church is our church, cannot grow unless we know the truth because of the ground reality. That's what I meant.
Okay, so that's where we are. आपको स्वागत करने के लिए मैंने शायरी सुना है. अभी तो मौसम है बारिश आने की. सो बादल गरजने लगते हैं तो आसमान में बिजली कड़कती है. बादल गरजने लगते हैं तो आसमान में बिजली कड़कती है. आप जैसे लीडर्स यहाँ शामिल है, दिल में नई उमंग टपकती है. Okay, so we'll go to, you got the mic there, just introduce yourself, just say, don't mention about the dream or the question, just your name. Yeah.
My name is Conrad Saldana. I'm from St. Michael's Church, Mahim.
My name is Calvin Pereira. I'm from Our Lady of Fatima Church, Shuri.
My name is Goreti Khalko. I'm from St. Elizabeth's Hospital, working for Migrants Ministry.
There's a mic there. Yes, Cyril?
I'm Sister Cyrilla, Franciscans of St. Mary of the Angels from Andheri.
I'm Father Fraser Mascarenhas, parish priest of St. Peter's Church, Bandra, and the dean of the Bandra Deanery.
Okay. So the first person to open the innings is Sister Cyrilla. Okay. Take the mic. Yeah. Tell us first what your dream church is. Can you hear us or it's not clear over there? Yeah. You're clear? Yeah. What your dream church is in brief, and I will also ask Cardinal whether you would like to comment on one phrase or one word on that. Over to you, Cyrilla.
My dream church is a community of vulnerable and imperfect people of God, striving to grow in spirituality and reaching out in every way possible to share that experience with people of all faiths, of course, the church community as well. I also dream of that church where there is justice, where there is inclusiveness, where there is acceptance, with no caste distinctions, gender distinctions, and where everyone enjoys peace and harmony for which Jesus was born on this earth. Caring for the earth, sustaining the earth, and being stewards of it. That is the church of my dream.
Okay, thank you, Cyrilla. Let's have a round of applause for that lovely dream. I wanted to tell Bishop Alwyn that during the afternoon session, there were one on my right, one on my left, fast asleep. So Bishop Alwyn said, they are dreaming about their church. Okay, Cardinal, the words she mentioned, Sister Cyrilla mentioned, striving to grow. What in your opinion is about the Archdiocese of Bombay? Is there growth? Is there growth towards promoting oneness, justice, and brotherhood? Over to you, Cardinal.
Thanks, Steve. I would say every church is growing continuously. And what Sister Cyrilla has mentioned is the dream and the goal of every single church. That's what our Lord has given us and why our Lord founded the church. Now, we will always be a pilgrim church, always be walking towards holiness, walking towards spirituality, walking towards full justice, walking towards inclusivity. My perception is there are always ups and downs. The church is in the world, but not of the world. The church is therefore also influenced by values of the world, by the sociological, the political, ideological, economic situation of the world. And so the church also is impinged by these, and therefore it's always a continuous wave, up and down, up and down. The church, but if you look at the graph, I hope the Church Universal is certainly growing in holiness, and each one of us, the church is us. No? So I cannot fault anything Sister said. We cannot, but this is a process, and we hope, we strive. One of the steps in growing is precisely this: the knowledge of the truth, acknowledging the truth, and then trying to take remedial measures. But thank you, Sister.
I like the phrase, Cardinal, the pilgrim church. We are growing. At no point we can be perfect, but we are growing. That we are taking stock of our situation from 1980, where every probably 10 years we have had a synod or a consultation, is the very fact of growth of this archdiocese. So every 10 years or 11 years we have had. Let's give a round of applause for that. I think at the previous session, Richard said that I can get an opportunity to speak that I'm mad about the church and sad about the church. What comes through is the power of the Holy Spirit. Okay, so we go to your youngster, Calvin. Calvin, what's your dream church? You have years to live, and you represent the youth here, and you are the present of the church, not the future, the present church. So what's your dream church? Let us have it.
So, my dream is a church that is overwhelmed with Jesus' love. Because I think in this world right now, especially after COVID, there is so much of brokenness, there is so much of loneliness among people. And very often we think the church is something that is just between two people, but we forget Jesus said, love God with all your heart and love your neighbor as yourself. So we as Christians are called to be channels so that the love of God can flow through us into the people around us. And therefore, I think it's important for us to not just keep doing things, but becoming something and becoming what Christ meant it to be. And I'd like to quote St. Catherine of Siena, "Be who God meant you to be, and you will set this world on fire." Thank you.
Well done, Calvin. Calvin, those words about the church being overwhelmed with love, that's the phrase that you have, is really good coming from the youth section. Okay, so that's it. Can I cross this? Yeah. May I have a question from the audience here? Taking off from Calvin, is Candida anywhere around? Yeah, Candida. Okay, the question to you. Can a mic come here? Or go to that mic, yeah.
Check. Please
Yeah.
ask me a simple question.
Tough question, huh? Okay, so the question is, if you were given an opportunity to be the parish priest, what are the priorities that you would say? I don't think it's impossible, but after hearing that Alison, where's Alison? Alison has done so much. Cardinal is starting the process for a canonization. So through our intercession, you might be the parish priest. Over to you, Candida, yes.
Okay, I think I'm going to look through notes that I made through the course of today. I think I would involve youth at the parish level, because youth are usually involved only in youth groups. So youth are usually unaware of how the PPC functions, or they are not aware of liturgical norms. Speaking of liturgy, I think a lot of people, because I love the liturgy so much, I would love that a lot of people, the laity are aware of the liturgy. They know, they understand the riches of the liturgy. I also think that there should be, I would have common activities that are held for all age groups. So if it's like a summer club, not just a summer club for kids, something where people of all age groups come together. And speaking of togetherness, we have these different minority associations. So you have the Goan Association and you have the East Indian Association, and they will come together and be only with their people. So if you have something where you have like a cross-cultural program where everybody puts in a program and people of different cultures interact with each other, so it does not become, hey, you're an East Indian, I'm a Mangalorean, no, she's a Tamilian, no, he's a Malayali. So with that thing, so I think if I was a parish priest, I think that would be a pivotal role that I would play to sort of unite the church there.
Okay. Cardinal, I would like to be her assistant.
Thank you.
Okay. Conrad, can you take the mic, please? Your perception of the dream church.
See, my dream church is a church that lives by the values of the gospel. Okay, that's point number one. Within that point, I feel that an importance should be given to the experience of God, and not in terms of knowledge about God. See, when we have knowledge about God, then we tend to come across as genuine fakes. So we are struggling to look like genuine because we have not really had an experience of God. But we know very much about God. We have created him into a commodity. So first is that we need a church which lives by the gospel values, which places more emphasis on interior experience of God, and therefore helps us to discern the Spirit, and places less emphasis on ritual, on law, and dogma. I think what happens here, when we lose importance on the interiorization of the spiritual life, we tend to become external. And then we fall into the trappings of peripherals and, kind of bling. But we miss the reality. The other point which I feel my dream church should have, is to be open to the truths in other faiths. Genuinely open. See, today we are living in a world of extremities, fundamentalism in all aspects, driven to extremities. We are living in a world where we are othering everything. We are othering the environment. We are othering people. We are othering religions. So we are separating ourselves from everybody else. When we genuinely need to understand that we can never be separate. We are different, but we can never be separate. And in that context, we need to understand and appreciate other faiths, the truths in those other faiths. And lastly, my dream church is that we become accountable and transparent in all our endeavors, all. See, it is senseless pushing all issues under the carpet. We need to bring them out, not washing our dirty linen in public. No, I'm not saying that. That will be highly detrimental. But we are aware of what is happening. We need to be accountable. We need to be transparent. And therefore, those who can take action need to take action. And therefore, that action is seen to be taken. And therefore, we say, yes, we are transparent, we are accountable, we are open to the truths in the other faiths. We are pursuing a God experience. And we are also trying to live the gospel values and placing less emphasis on ritual, on law, and on dogma. Thank you.
Thank you, Conrad. Yeah, well said. Back to Conrad, question on what you said. Give the mic to him. Honestly, I feel I worked with you. You're such a balanced person. You work in the corporate world, also in church circles, and various other synods you have helped us out. Do you find the church transparent and accountable? Would you speak to Cardinal? Yeah, face him and say.
I think this is a highly sensitive issue. One cannot be transparent and accountable in every aspect. There are degrees of transparency. There are degrees of accountability. But I think there has to be a sense that we are transparent and accountable to the values of the gospel. We are transparent and accountable to people who are kind of misdemeanors occurring. We need to see that, okay, fine, action is being taken. We need to look, I'm not talking about financial accounts. I mean, okay, fine, financial accounts is one aspect of transparency and accountability. But more, I am talking about the dignity, the sanctity of the human being. Whether it pertains to sexual abuse, whether it pertains to whatever abuse. But there is an accountability and transparency to the gospel values where the dignity and respect of the human being, no matter who that person is. It can be the person from the slum area, it can be the person from, a rich family or a poor family, but there needs to be that sense. That's the reason why, Cardinal, I am emphasizing that there needs to shift, there is a shift which needs to be taken, a shift in terms of discernment of spirits. There needs to be the kingdom of heaven is within. We need to build that kingdom within. The kingdom is not out there. That is ritual, that is law, that is dogma. It has its limitations. Now,
Conrad will stop that. Cardinal,
Sorry,
would you
I'm
like
sorry.
to respond to that?
Yeah.
Particularly the aspect that we have structures of transparency and accountability. And I like what Conrad said, we are not talking about financial things. It's the whole question of dignity and human person and human growth. Cardinal, your response.
I thank Conrad for what he said. And I think it's important. There's no doubt that we should be faithful to the gospel values. I mean that the whole essence of the church is, the mission of the church is to know the gospel, understand the gospel, live the gospel, spread the gospel, make the gospel more. That's the mission of the church. And any church that is not faithful to the gospel is not church. It's like we are not church. I like what you said about the relationship to other openness. I've always felt that India, the whole country, we can give an example to the whole world about how to live with other religions. I mean, this is, unfortunately, we've not been able to make that impact sufficiently. I think we live in a multicultural, multi-religious, pluri-religious society, and we know the values. You must understand that sometimes the society is not ready for steps which the church wants to take about this. And Pope Francis himself is criticized for some of the steps he takes, again, in keeping with gospel values. But this is something, that's the reason why last time when the bishops of India met just before the pandemic, we took dialogue. But unfortunately, we could not do very much because then there was a lockdown, and so all our efforts and plans went awry. We have continuous contacts with other religions, but it's certainly not sufficient and certainly not widespread. About the question of transparency, certainly the church should be more and more transparent. You must understand also there are rights of individuals, human rights of the person. And we've got to balance the human rights of the person, of the individual, and the rights of society. And that again is sort of Christ, the compassion and mercy and the face of Christ has got to be that of the church. The church has got to be the face of Christ. And that's got to be kept in control. But certainly greater transparency and mechanisms to make effect. About sexual abuse of minors, I want to tell you that sister is here present, member of the Pontifical Council, I don't know where she's left, Pontifical Council for the Protection of Minors, and we have a center in Bombay, which is a referral point for the country for these things. So thank you, Conrad.
Thanks, Cardinal. We must give an applause that we are making efforts. Yeah, thank you. Right at the start, Alison mentioned in the opening speech that this is the first time we have had people representing various sections of the church. Domestic workers, migrants, maybe people of different orientations, then language groups, all the other. We have Goretti over there. आप हिंदी में बताइए आपका कलीसिया के बारे में क्या सपना है और आपका एक प्रश्न कार्डिनल साहब को पूछिए.
सबसे पहले सबों को नमस्ते और जय यीशु.
Namaste.
मैं माइग्रेंट कम्युनिटी को रिप्रेजेंट करती हूँ. मेरा सपना है जब हम माइग्रेंट प्रवासी, अपने ही देश में हम प्रवासी हैं, मेरा सपना है कि चर्च एक इंक्लूसिव चर्च बने. मेरा कहने का ये मतलब है कि हम जब बॉम्बे में आते हैं या तो दूसरे शहरों में जाते हैं, हम बैप्टाइज्ड हैं, लेकिन हमें अच्छी तरह से वहाँ पे कंफर्टेबल सिचुएशन नहीं मिलता है एंड वेलकमिंग नहीं है, अप्रिसिएशन नहीं है, पहचान नहीं होने के कारण से हमारा जो चर्च, हमारे जो विश्वासी हैं जो दूसरे प्रदेशों से आते हैं, वो छोटी छोटी टुकड़ों में बांटे जा रहे हैं और हमारी माता कलीसिया, कैथोलिक कलीसिया से दूर चले जा रहे हैं। तो उनको कैसे हम लोग उन बैप्टाइज ग्रुप को अपने ही चर्च में हम जुड़ित रखें। अभी कोविड के समय में बहुत सारे परिवार टूट रहे हैं, तरह तरह की समस्या सबको देखने को मिली है। ये ना केवल प्रवासी, लेकिन हर एक जना, हर एक समाज, अमीर हो या गरीब हो, सबों को चैलेंजेस दिखने को मिले हैं। यहाँ पे हमारी मानवीय परिवार टूट रहा है, चर्च तो टूट ही रहा है, और मानवीय परिवार टूटने के कारण से दूसरी धर्म में चले जा रहे हैं एंड हमारी संख्या घटते जा रहा है।
तो गुरेटी आप वहाँ पे रुकिए। दुख की खबर है कि आप कहते हैं कि चर्च या फैमिली परिवार टूट जाते हैं। देयर इज माइग्रेंट्स कमीशन ग्लास्टन एनीवे ग्लास्टन वी हैव जस्ट स्टार्टेड इट। जस्ट सी इन brief sentences the progress we have made in the commission. Say that. You take the mic here. Then Cardinal will respond also.
Thank you so much. First, I want to thank His Eminence for taking this initiative in a way. I think so. As soon as the pandemic came in, of course, there were many NGOs and people who were working in the Archdiocese, but His Eminence already has seen that his vision very clearly that we need to have a commission in the Archdiocese of Bombay to take care of the migrants. And therefore, on 26th of September 2021, that is last year, he officially started the commission. He appointed me as the secretary to the commission. And more than that, he monitors the commission. The commission directly reports to him every month. And last 6 months progress, just to tell you, we are able to form the 12 units in the Archdiocese of Mumbai, working with the various religious fathers and the sisters of the Archdiocese and the priests. We have also began with the census. His Eminence has a 5-point agenda which he told me, which I took it forward to take it forward in with the commission with the help of all the units, beginning with the spiritual needs of the people, that is all the spiritual part, the masses. Second was the sacrament, to facilitate them the sacraments where there will be some difficulties, so make them easy way out because they are not from here, so take the help of the Kuria and make them easy way out. Third is to have a census. We have already started the census. We have done more than 4,000 census already, which we are creating a software right now, and at one click, units and His Eminence will have the data of the migrants which are available in the Archdiocese of Mumbai. Also, the fourth point he had suggested to retain the identity of these people and with the cultural identity. Therefore, for that to have a fellowship program. So we had the Karam festivals, we had the various other programs for them. In fact, His Eminence on 25th of December, having his busy schedule, he made them personally. He invited, even though having a COVID restriction, he invited 2 families from everywhere, and he had the function with him. Thank you so much, His Eminence, for doing the work for the migrant.
I purposely asked Glaston because Glaston is day in and day out into the Migrant Commission. आप कुछ कहने चाहते हैं कार्डिनल इसके बारे में जो माइग्रेंट कमीशन ने शुरुआत किया है उनके काम?
Yeah, I want to say, like, we began the I want to share with you, maybe on this question, why I sort of thought of the migrants, because we were having a CBCI meeting, I was president then, about the youth, and I was this was in Guwahati, I remember, and I was quite shocked when the youth present over there came and met me, and they said, we are youth from Bombay and from your place, and they says, we don't feel welcome in your archdiocese. For me, it was a real shock and then after that, I sort of, with Bishop Agnello, and then we had the SVDs and the Jesuits, etc. I called them to those working, and sisters working together. And then we started a program. We made a 5-point program, which I gave Father Glaston about faith formation, which I think also came out, the faith formation, their own language, assistance for sacraments, for baptism, first communion, confirmation, marriages, assistance for that. Then a question of, I thought the culture is being impacted, and therefore some programs to protect their culture. Then also a crisis center, and then of course helping them in their difficulties, giving them new skills. So they can, if they lose a job, they got things. We started all this in a small way, but that's really the beginning, and I think it's doing very well. I want to thank Glaston, thanks Sister, for the commissions the work is doing. I think it's a big need, and we in Bombay cannot, Archdiocese of Bombay, we cannot really lag behind in our service to these people. They should be, Holy Father has said, welcome, protect, promote, integrate, as Holy Father said.
4 words of the Holy Father on migrants.
4 words.
The point to make is that through the commission, various things have happened, and like that, we have progressed, making the church inclusive. That was the first topic, and also the 4th topic of the synod is a relevant church, a church relevant to the times. So these are small ways and means by which we make it inclusive and a church relevant. Thank you. Thank you. Father Fraser, go directly to your questions. You had 2 questions, which I don't know, but address it to the Cardinal.
Okay. Your Eminence, 2 questions which are troubling me. One is, the whole socio-economic political system of the country is really disintegrating with the type of communal hate that is being spread and the injustice against so many people. Now, the church has always been very good at looking after the victims of injustice. So even now during the pandemic, etc., we did a fantastic, I think, amount collectively. But we have not really been very good at working against unjust structures, for justice, opposing injustice. And I think that is something that Jesus did very much in his life. So while we do need to, out of compassion, take care of the victims, we also need to oppose what is happening in the country by way of the unjust laws, the, keeping quiet on so many atrocities happening, and things of that type which directly impinge on the welfare of people. So can the church move from just charity, looking after the victims, to really doing justice work? Okay. That's my first question.
Fraser, we'll stop there. Cardinal, you would like to respond?
I think this is a question it's troubling you, it's troubling all of us in India. I myself have, the question is, be assertive, be aggressive, what exactly? Personally, now sharing my own anxieties and my discussions with the different bishops, this is going on. I've been in, wherever any atrocity happens with the Catholic Church, I always contact the bishop concerned to get, to plan how we combat this. One important thing is effectiveness. Do I want, I feel, am I making a statement which will satisfy me, but will not be, in the long run, be more deleterious to human rights and to the weak? I know that I got letters also, Father Fraser, when sometimes some bishops wrote, people from the government, Catholics working, it's okay for you as bishops sitting in your bishops' houses to talk. We sitting in our offices are the ones paying the price for what you say. So you are protected. I don't think we are that protected, but we suffer. Now, we've got to have a balance, Fraser, and this is something which is very important. I have had, not very many, but several discussions, with the government, very many, of course, over the years, but with the Prime Minister himself, Mr. Modi himself, and very friendly, very warm. Stan Swami is a case in question. I spoke to the Prime Minister myself about Father Stan. I said, I know Father Stan personally. I can vouch for his integrity as Father, that he will, not a person who would indulge in anything which is anti-terrorist, etc., because I know his nature. We were in the same community 40, 50 years ago. And Prime Minister's replied to me, Modi says, I know the case, but he says, I don't interfere. Now the question is, how could I be effective? How could I help Stan? How could I make sure he's not more victimized? That's the balance which I've got to take in my position as like the one deciding things for him. So that's something which we are continuously learning, growing, and changing our stance every now to be effective. But thank you for the question. It's something which troubles me, which I've discussed with the bishops very often.
Thank you, Cardinal. Lancy, could you just translate into Hindi?
कार्डिनल ने संक्षिप्त रूप में कहा कि ये जो प्रश्न है वो प्रश्न हम लोग किस प्रकार से जवाब देना है, विशेष प्रकार से इसकी जो प्रतिक्रिया होती है उसको हमको संतुलन में रखकर जवाब देना पड़ता है, क्योंकि एक और से हम लोग देखते हैं कि कुछ भी कहें या ना कहें उसका परिणाम एक नहीं तो एक कम्युनिटी पर होता है। तो ये जो मसला है हम लोग सीधे से जवाब नहीं दे सकते, यानी कि जो हमको डिस्टर्ब होता है हम लोग करना चाहिए बातचीत करने। कार्डिनल साहब ने कहा कि स्टैंड के हिसाब से उन्होंने डायरेक्ट जाके पीएम से बातें की, लेकिन इसका फ़ायदा क्या होता है कि किस प्रकार से अगर जुल्म अगर बढ़ेंगे या कैसे क्या करेंगे, वो एक मसला है जो बहुत ही सेंसिटिव है और हमको इस मद्देनज़र रखते हुए हमको जवाब देना पड़ता है या हमको बोलना पड़ता है, क्योंकि आसान नहीं होता है। कभी कभी जब भी हमको लगता है कि हम पर एक बोझ बना है, उनको ज़मीर को ये हमेशा सोचता रहता है, लेकिन किस प्रकार से जवाब दें, कैसे क्या करें, कहाँ पर हम कमज़ोर पड़ते हैं, किस प्रकार से बातें करें, ये एक मसला जो हमेशा रहेगा।
Thank you, Lancy. Yeah, we had one question to the young girl that's candidate. West Shenaida, put your hand up. Shenaida? No, not Shenaida. What's her name? Yeah, someone. Okay, we'll come back to that. Yeah. Kelvin, you had one question. One question, yeah. One question about the church being relevant to the times. I only got that. What is the question you particularly wanted to ask the Cardinal?
So Cardinal, as a youth, in today's day, we want to keep up with the times. I'm not sure if you've heard of this Netflix and chill philosophy, and as a youth, when you see things like live-in relationships and people having a relationship before marriage and staying together. So as a youth, it's really difficult to live in the world, in such a world, and not be of that world. So do you think it's time that the church upgrades its teachings and accepts what is happening, or how do you look at it?
That's a loaded question. The moral theologians and others kind of pay attention to what the Cardinal is saying. Yeah.
I don't think, I remember I was at a meeting in Bangalore with a group of, I don't mean the Bangalore, and something similar came over there. And I told them, and they said, now amend the Bible if that's what the Bible is the problem, amend the Bible. Now, the Bible I can't amend. The Bible, the Holy Father can't amend also. Now, let's say, I understand the question and the anxiety. We must keep up with the times. The church must be relevant, answer the question of the times. But it cannot be subjectivism. There are certain absolute moral, doctrinal principles about... I've just come from Germany a few days back, and there the big discussion is about communion to the divorced remarried. Now that's not a doctrinal problem, but a moral and canonical problem. Now, while the basic doctrines is what Jesus gave us. What Jesus gave us, we cannot change. The church does, not the Holy Father, the church has no authority to change. And yet, how can we make the church relevant is answering the needs of the times by educating the people. Now, in the morning I saw many questions about LGBT was there. And I think the church, it's wrong to say that the church doesn't accept them. I personally I've said that in interviews abroad also, that we welcome them with open arms. We certainly want to give pastoral care to them. And I want to share with you, since this question came up repeatedly in the morning, that I was approached to say a mass for the LGBT. And I said yes. And then but I caution them, if I have a mass, you understand they are coming out into the open. Do you want to that? I mean, I don't know. And then after discussing, they decided to cancel the mass. So, we must also keep in mind what is the present social climate of the people, because they might be rejected. It's right. I know the anguish they have personally and the parents. This is answering a specific situation in your question. And I think what we have got to do is, we can't sort of get stuck in saying that, and that's why I sympathize with your question. You can't get stuck saying, this is canon law. This is my field of specialized canon law. But I often have said, this is a man-made law. So that we can change, certain man-made law. And the Holy Father, the present Holy Father, has changed several times. But thank you, Royston. But there are other moral principles that we've got to distinguish between non-negotiables and negotiables. We've got to distinguish between what the Bible teaches, what Jesus thought, what was the mind of Jesus, and what was man-made, what came out because of historical circumstances. So some things can be changed, some things can't be changed, but I agree with you in the general principle. We must see the signs of the times and answer them. Vatican II did that. I think Vatican Council did that.
Thanks, Cardinal. I like the two phrases you mentioned. One is that there are non-negotiables and there are negotiables. That's
Yes.
one. And the second powerful statement you made was that we cannot alter the value systems Christ has given us. We must educate and make aware
Exactly,
and deepen into the value systems that are there. Well done, Cardinal. Well done.
Thank you. Thank you, Felix.
Yeah, thank you so much. Yeah. Any question from the audience? I've got 3 questions come on the email over there. Raise your hands, I'll just pick up. Yeah, okay. Because you're the MC, I'll give you a chance. Okay, Mark, yeah, say it. Take the mic. Meanwhile, the questions that have come, Cardinal, on the email are, one is the women's role in the church.
Yeah,
It's
sure,
a long thing, I will let
Sure.
you know. Yeah. And secondly, what about the assets in the church? We have property and other institutions. Are we taking care of these in the right manner? So keep those questions afterwards for you to answer. Mark.
Your Eminence, my question is about, how social media, the wrong use, is kind of making it difficult for us to explain our faith to our friends. I'll give you an example. You see these breakaway groups and these so-called new pastors, they put up videos on Facebook or YouTube, there are these funny ones where somebody is saying shikararara and that kidney baraho and that lady starts walking. Something like that. There is one person in Punjab doing this. And because of this, what happens is these people put these videos, and what my other friends from other communities think that this is what is happening in your church. During Mass, you go on Sunday and you're healing people. I said, please come and see, there is nothing like this happening. What my question is, can we do something to educate our people itself, or make, some kind of a media presence saying that this is not what it is? Because I feel going further with the kind of sentiment that is there in the country right now, because of these things happening, our church buildings may get attacked. That's what my fear is. That's the question.
Okay, Mark. Cardinal, you want to respond to that?
Felix, I'm afraid I didn't fully get the question.
Okay, I'll get it to you, Cardinal. Even I couldn't probably hear that too well. Mark, just put it down on a piece of paper and give it to me. Yeah. Sure. We have another hand over there. Gilbert. Yes, Gilbert. Let's come here.
Yeah, I'll answer the question, I didn't fully get it. I'll already jump, Felix, if you want, to the other questions you want.
Yeah, 1 second. Let Gilbert, otherwise he'll hammer me. Yeah, take this mic. They say, what's wrong with the mic and with the professor?
Hello. Your Eminence, the huge assets of our Archdiocese need to be professionally managed by a team of experts working at the center and part of a well-organized system which is in place across the Archdiocese. As of now, although the DEO functions with great commitment, for the most part, Father Richard Crasto is for all practical purposes the only point of reference for the whole Archdiocese. The consultation of 2012 had proposed BAMA, that is the Bombay Archdiocesan Asset Management Authority, as a kind of a vehicle to professionally manage our assets. Could you throw some light on the system that is in place?
Thank you. You know what about, this is the same thing about the asset management. Last time, we thought of having a Bombay Archdiocesan asset management team. I think Father Caesar de Malnotti present was very keen on that. We've got, actually tell you the truth, I don't know the assets of the Archdiocese. But now I don't know whether Father Richard Crasto, who's my diocese estate officer, would be able to answer a little bit more. But we've got an office which takes care of it. I agree with you that this is something whether we'll have to take care of, but particularly is the question of the document, keeping the right documentation, making sure. The fear is that if right now if the documents are not clear, the land records are not clear, you put your whole assets and at risk. The Diocese Estate Office looks into this to some extent. We tried years ago to set up a separate office at the Dharavi Bell, so Marathi speaking, so that they could take care of situation that side. But I agree with you that this is an extremely important thing. We parish priests are advised of how to keep the documents in order. I hope the diocesan papers are in order, but I agree with the need. We've spoken about the need. We've tried to answer the need, and maybe I'll once again check, but I personally am not aware of exactly the situation. It's that department handles it. They report every now and then, and I'm aware of the big elephant in the room, which could be a problem.
Okay, yeah. अर्चना आप यहाँ पे है, आप कम्युनिटी सेंटर में काम कर रही है, माइग्रेंट्स ग्रुप में है, डोमेस्टिक वर्कर्स ग्रुप में है, सेल्फ वर्कर्स ग्रुप में है, तो आपकी एक इच्छा क्या है कलीसिया के बारे में? आप पूछ सकते हैं।
जो हमारा असंगठित कामगार है, जैसे माइग्रेंट का ग्रुप है, उनको जो सुविधा या उनको डॉक्यूमेंट बनाने के लिए बहुत दिक्कत आती है, तो हम ये कहते हैं कि उनको अन्न वस्त्र निवारा, तो उनको जीने का अधिकार है, घटने ने हमको दिया है, तो उस तरह से उनको जीना चाहिए। वो वहाँ से उनका परिवार ये करके वो यहाँ पर आए हैं, तो उनको अन्न वस्त्र निवारा होना चाहिए।
ठीक है, फादर ग्लास्टन ने उसका उत्तर दिया है। थैंक यू अर्चना। आई जस्ट वांटेड टू हियर अ वॉइस फ्रॉम द माइग्रेंट सेंटर, फ्रॉम द विमेन्स ग्रुप। Francis Fernandez, just get the mic. Now, I've gone through, Cardinal, some of the reports of the Synod of the other dioceses.
Yeah.
The three main things that came up in most of them were pastoral care needs more focus. Francis, pay attention. There should be an audit, जिम्मेदारी होनी चाहिए कलीसिया में, और लोगों की पुकार के बारे में voice of the people needs to be heard. These three have come up in most of the findings of the synods in the other dioceses. Yes. Which one would you pick and tell? I'll repeat: care for pastoral care focus, audit of the diocese, and voice of the people. Share.
I think pastoral care of the flock is one of the major things that has come across the many parts of India, that people are feeling that they're not really being cared for. And can I interject another thing of my own?
You want to ask? Yeah. 5,000 you have to pay there.
I beg pardon?
You have to pay 5,000.
Yeah, sure. It's a little bit of a bee in a bonnet. I feel that many of our encyclicals, they are so precious, but why do they have to have Latin names? If I asked people around here, what is Gaudium et Spes, what is Fratelli Tutti, I think many of them would be looking at me unplussed, because I myself was in a seminary, we never learned Latin. So I feel that maybe there should be some way in which the encyclicals could be given better names, and I would also, I would volunteer to do something about the encyclicals.
Thank you. Cardinal, on that point over there, about the title about the encyclical, you have a reason why it is kept the same. Yeah.
The title of the?
Encyclicals.
The titles are always the first words. The titles are the first words of the... now, of course, the Pope has consistently used Gaudium. The encyclicals are all... every encyclical written by the popes of the centuries are called by the first words. And it's written in Latin generally originally. Now some are coming in Italian, and full translations are not yet available. But and when they draft it, they try to put the theme of the encyclical in the very first couple of words. Evangelii Gaudium, Laudato Si, Gaudete Exultate, and so on. Querida Amazonia. So it's the first words, the first two words.
Okay, yeah. Cyrilla, some of the things I knew in Amboli, and the things you will often speak about is adult faith formation. The liturgy not being an expression of the people. And there is ritualistic and no power in the sacraments as it is expressed. Would you like to put that as a question or your thought to the Cardinal?
We do give instruction, Catholic teaching instructions to the children. And as they grow up, after confirmation, there seems to be a kind of a period where they are expected to grow in it. As I look back, I see Jesus wanted to start, Jesus started a movement, a way of life. And that somehow we have stalled it by building churches. I am not against the buildings, neither the church. Jesus wanted people to have God experience, and he tried his best and in very many ways. And somehow we have given the sacraments and a lot of dogmas. They are good. Where is the God experience and the growth in spirituality?
I'll take it at that, Cyrilla. Yeah, we'll keep that. Yeah, the point well made that where is God-centeredness and spirituality in the various rituals and the sacraments we celebrate. We'll take it at that. Before we, they'll hammer me if I don't put that question about women, Cardinal. Yeah,
I know, I knew you would bring it up.
So before that, I would like to say that this is I'm saying on behalf of the Cardinal. On behalf of the Cardinal. दूध में गिरे चावल तो खीर कहते हैं, दूध में गिरे चावल तो खीर कहते हैं, हमारी आर्चडायसिस में एनलाइटेंड लेटी होने से ये हमारी तकदीर कहते हैं.
क्या बोला.
Over to you about the women. Number of questions, but just in brief. Yeah.
How many minutes do you give me to speak about women?
Come on, women, raise your hands. We'll go on till tomorrow.
Yeah, you know,
yeah. Okay, Cardinal. Yeah.
Sure. I want to confess that, first of all, I'm convinced, and I want to say it publicly, that women have not been given sufficient role in the church. I was present for the Amazonian Synod, and I saw over there that much of pastoral work is being hindered because of the lack of priests. The priests, they have Mass once in 6 months in some parishes. One parish did not have Mass for 2 years, so you can imagine. And I remember I was mentioning over there when talking, I saw a possibility of because the women are very, very active there, but not given role. I think the women should be given a greater role in the church. I mean, I have no doubt about that at all. The two things. First of all, two great. The clericalism should diminish in the sense, clericalism, I mean, we won't delve into it because that will take us digress. Therefore, the laity should have, laity who are baptized should have their rightful place in the church. But it's a two-way thing. It means rights, means obligations also. in responsibilities also. So the laity, I think, should be given much more responsibility. In the laity, again, I think women should be given the rightful place. When we say laity, we may think of only of men. And I do feel, I confess, that in the Church Universal, women are not given sufficient recognition, sufficient possibilities. Now, part of the responsibility, I don't think we can put the whole responsibility on the clergy alone. It's also the mentality of society, which is, I was Archbishop of Agra and for 6 years, and our priority there, 5-year priority or 6, I don't know, which we discussed with Bizerio, or we had a social survey, was the uplift of women who were looked as second-class citizens in the home, in society, etc. So that's really society, a problem in society, which is, if the church is in the world, so therefore the church is affected by that, and is also, we've got to work. Now, that's why I asked you how long. I see great possibilities, but we've got to begin with changing the mind of people. I don't think the priests alone are responsible for this, our priests, but we've got to gradually educate, understand. I myself am a convert. I want to share again an experience. There was a very, very important meeting in Rome, and the Holy Father asked a few of us to organize it. And we were discussing the importance of, I said competence. And then I had taken a woman canon lawyer whom I know. I said, I'm going for this meeting, why don't you come along? And she was insisting women. And I remember I told her, because you're obsessed with this, we need competence. Finally, we gave in and we had a couple of women addressing us. I want to confess that all that the men said I knew, but women always had a different angle, a different insight. And therefore, I think they have got much to contribute in different ways in the church. I am certainly for greater role of women, but we've got to have them also change the mind of society, and so I'm totally for it.
We have to also shape the minds of the society before we
and
achieve
I want to say,
anything.
this is also the mind of Pope Francis. We've discussed it, I've discussed it with Pope Francis, and it's his mind also fully about women.
Okay. We end with a rapid question. You just to say the scale, 1 to 10. In the Archdiocese of Bombay, am I coming clear to you? In the Archdiocese of Bombay, on a scale 1 to 10, 10 being the best, 1 being the low, what would you rate as laity and women involvement in the parish or the diocese? Conduct. And women in the diocese. Involvement. First, number.
7.
7. You.
6.
6.
8.
3. 8. Are you what?
6.
6. Put the mic close to you.
6.
Oh. Yeah, it's on.
6.
6, yeah.
5.
5. Okay. The last person is this 5. 5. To take action on this man.
St. Peter's Church, Bangalore.
Yeah, St. Peter's, yeah.
We'll check, take it audited.
Okay, my dear people, there's enough questions even for 1 more hour, but that cannot take place. We have to go with our program. And a round of applause to Cardinal.
Thank you.
And to the panelists. Thank you so much, Conrad, Calvin, Goretti, Sister Cyrilla, and Fraser. Thank you. That's it.
Please wait, all of you. We are felicitating you. Astrid? Please put your hands together for them, everyone. And let's also clap for Father Felix, who conducted it so well.
I think so.
Your Eminence, we request you to wait. Yeah, Bishop Alvin is here.
The Church, in its synodal journey, how could it leave its children behind? A drawing competition was organized for them to express their views on the church and how they feel about it. I would now like to call upon Father Joshan Rodrigues, from an assistant priest from St. Francis Xavier Church, Dabul, and managing editor of the Examiner, to share the light on same.
Good evening, Your Eminence. This is a very special moment for all of us, because how can we leave the children behind when it comes to the synodal process in the Archdiocese of Bombay? And so therefore, we all know they are an integral part of the church, closest to the heart of God as we see in the scriptures. And by virtue of their innocence and unconditional love, they also have a unique perspective to offer each one of us. And therefore the Synod Coordinating Committee thought it best to engage with them in an artistic way, engaging their thoughts in the form of artwork and drawings to express how they see the church and the faith from their eyes. And therefore, accordingly, my dear friends, an online drawing competition was held for them in the month of February 2022. The last date of submission was March 6th, 2022. And the competition was titled, My Jesus, My Church, My Love. And it was held in 2 age groups, from 5 to 9 years and from 10 to 15 years. And children were requested to send in their entries by email to the Synod address, aob.synod@gmail.com. And I'm happy to announce that the competition received an overwhelming response, with more than 600 entries coming from all over Bombay in both the categories. And a couple of entries were also received from special needs children, which was also very special for us when we saw these entries. And therefore, we have given them an honorable mention. The winners were selected, 3 winners were declared in each category, 5 to 9 years and 10 to 15 years. And the results were then announced, posted in the pages of the Examiner, and also communicated to them. And in addition to this, every participant received an e-participation certificate from the Synod Coordinating Committee. And so therefore, we have invited these children today to receive their certificates and prizes from the hands of His Eminence himself. They're very excited, as you can imagine. They're looking forward to this occasion. And so this is a little bit where children can get also involved in this 2-day synodal process that we are having here in the Archdiocese of Bombay, here at St Pius Seminary. And so therefore, without further ado, I'd like to invite His Eminence. Please come forward and present the certificates and the prizes to these children. And please encourage them and give them a wide round of applause as they come in one by one on stage. So first we begin with the 5 to 9 years category. The first, we didn't have a first, second, third prize. We selected 3 winners in each category. Okay. So the first winner is Chloe Joanne Fernandez. So their artworks are presented there at the back of the stage. Chloe, just pose for the camera. Congratulations, Chloe. The next winner is Lyle Ribeiro. Lyle, can we have you on stage? Yeah. They're pretty shy, so please encourage them. Give them a round of applause. Okay, and the final winner in this 5 to 9 years age category is, their drawings are behind on the screen, Your Eminence, over here. You can have a look at what they have drawn also. Yeah. Now we come to the 10 to 15 years category. Niam Shaw. I'm sorry, Natalia Vaz. Natalia Vaz, the final winner in the 5 to 9 category. Natalia. Okay, now we move to the 10 to 15 years. We have Niam Shaw. Their artwork is on screen behind you, so you can see that. Then we have Glennis Fernandez. And finally, Melston Lobo. We also had two honorable mentions from the special needs children. They are not present with us here today, Joanna Rodrigues and Ethel Rodrigues. So they will collect their prizes later. So thank you very much, Your Eminence, for your encouragement for all the children of the Archdiocese. Very blessed. Thank you. Can we have all the children? We'll have a group picture. Yeah. Thank you very much, and God bless and congratulations once again. Thank you, Eminence, for all your support to the children. Thank you.
We'd like to thank Father Joshin for all the work and the contribution that he's given, and we'd like to felicitate him. Astrid, please felicitate. Let's put our hands together, Father Joshin. Okay, friends, we have come to the end of today's discussions for now. We are going on a break. I know everybody's been waiting to hear that. So we are going on a break now. We